Okay, hello party people. So, I'm going to try to do this fairly quick as I have an appearance on tonight's Discord and Dragons. Just to give you guys a little bit of a bit of knowledge about why it's so bare and strange behind me. I'm in the process of rearranging my studio again. And, yeah, so because of that, and I do apologize for the noise you're about to hear off camera, but I'm just finishing up my notes here, or organizing my notes rather. And okay, that's not so loud though. So this is the Monday Media Review for the 21st of what is it? Oh yeah, July. It's been a day. There's actually a stepladder behind me that's out of shot that you can't see, but in the meantime, we'll go through this quickly. Also, by the way, I do have a new piece of merch up on Redbubble. At least I assume it's up. I haven't checked to make sure it was actually confirmed. Shouldn't be a problem for anybody. It's just a history gag based on the Reconquista. We'll see. But anyway, I want to go through this fairly quick because I have a little less than an hour before I have to be ready to be on Discord and Dragons. So, as you can see from the thumbnail, we're doing Superman Returns. On the doomed planet Krypton, a wise scientist placed his infants... I'm not reading this whole thing, I'm just fucking with you. The thing that I wanted to point out was when astronomers discovered the distant remains of his homeworld, this is actually kind of not right. It's based on an earlier script. Shouldn't have been in the movie. Because in the earlier script, the whole idea that they've discovered Krypton was actually a plot come up with by Lex Luthor. So, of course, this is meant to be an homage sequel, which I think is a very strange combination of terms, but it is very clear the Donner influence in this movie, and it's so good. I loved this movie. Up to a point. And we'll get there. So the first time we see Lex Luthor, obviously it's Kevin Spacey. We do need to address a thing, of course, because we must. I did actually ask AI to tell me exactly what the deal was. So here's what we got. Were any of the allegations against Kevin Spacey proven true? Yes. In October 2022, a New York civil jury found Kevin Spacey liable for battery against Anthony Rapp and awarded $40 million in damages, later reduced to 31 after the punitive portion was trimmed. That verdict legally established that Spacey did sexually grope the then 14-year-old Rapp at a 1986 party in Spacey's apartment. If you were 14 years old in 1986, what were you doing at Kevin Spacey's for a party? Separate criminal trials in London, 23-24, ended with Spacey acquitted on 9 counts involving 4 men, and a Massachusetts criminal case was dropped in 2019 after the accuser invoked the 5th. So while not every allegation resulted in a conviction, I think not every allegation should be, only one resulted in a conviction. The Rapp judgment is a proven court-upheld finding. Now, obviously, 86 is a lot longer ago than, 2022. So, if you were 14 in 1986, you were born in 72. So a 50-year-old took Kevin Spacey to court for groping him 38 years earlier. Okay. And that doesn't actually... It legally establishes that Spacey groped him. Doesn't actually prove that he did. It just says that he couldn't prove he didn't. And considering it was the 80s, yeah. Anyway, moving along, because... I'm sorry, Kevin Spacey is one of the brightest parts of this movie. And if you can't separate the art from the artist, well, I understand. So, Lex Luthor's introduction here is perfect comic book villainy. There's an amazing chunk of comedy to this scene here, where he just whips off the wig and hands it to the little girl. And essentially, because he's managed to scam essentially an entire fortune out of what I assume is this girl's great grandmother, rather. Yeah, he's a bit of a monster. But this moment of comedy is just so perfect. So yeah, I had to remark on it. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Also, the fact that they're revealing him to be bald might be a bit of a playful dig at Gene Hackman, who famously didn't want to shave his head. Let's see. Yeah, it has a strong comic, two senses of the word, sense to it in this scene, and it does very clearly tell you Luther is a villain, and b, this is a comic book movie. So use those sensibilities. The next picture is what I think of when I think of crypto. I think of a lab. In this case, it's a golden. Well, actually, I think that's a golden Labrador. But yeah, that's what I think of when I think of crypto. Is a retriever type dog, not whatever the hell that monstrosity James Gunn has got. Let's see, let's see. Oh, coming in hot. And this picture here, this is the suit that he wears when he returns. Now, I did want to point it out because it's not the black suit. Obviously, because if it had been patterned on the black suit, this part would be silver, and he'd have bracelets and sorry, not a mohawk, a mullet, which he does not. And it's an interesting departure from traditional Superman suits. The funny thing is, it seems to have influenced later ones. This is from the Flashpoint animation. Interesting. Moving along. So, this is where we see Routh. I'm sorry, but Routh, Cavill, Routh, and Reeve are probably my favorite Supermen because they all look kind of like each other. Dean Cain's a great Superman. Different category. But, yeah, I mean, this shot of Brandon, I mean, he looks like Superman. It's just a great shot. Let's see. Not the next one. This one is, oh, yes, Luthor. Oh, I skipped a page. Or skipped a note, rather. This line, gods are selfish beings who fly around in little capes and never share their power with anybody. That is a beautiful dialogue-based way to tell the audience why Luthor is doing what he's doing. I think it was absolutely perfect, personally. I'm just being aware of the time. Let's see. One of the things I did say about this shot is it is not just more Donner homage, which really it was meant to be a sequel to the first two Donner Superman movies. Which, okay, I understand that. I'm not quite sure why you'd disregard 3, though I think 3 was a little... and 4 was... Whoa. Anybody remember Nuclear Man? So the Fortress, yeah, it's got grand epic scale. It's Donner imagery. It's just great. Excuse me. I put this one in the category of no shit, Sherlock. Because if you've seen Superman 2, you remember that Luthor has in fact been to the Fortress of Solitude before. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and during that little sequence there, Spacey is revealing he knows a hell of a lot about Superman. And there's a little bit of a comedy touch. There's a panel of 6 crystals in front of him, and he does kind of an eeny, meeny, miny thing over them. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I did want to point out that Roger Ebert can go fuck himself. He thought this was pedantic, I think was the term he used, or tiresome. Roger, and I understand that you're probably sitting in heaven, or hell, or purgatory, looking at me and thinking evil thoughts, and that's fine. You're a twit. You had the absolute wrongest opinion possible about this movie. After the year before, we had Batman Begins, which was the whole gritty, dark, realistic, grounded in reality Batman. How the fuck are you going to make a guy who flies and is an alien who's powered by the sun realistic and grounded? Don't be a dickhead. Okay, thank you. This is the coming home sequence. Actually, no, this isn't. I didn't take a shot of that. But there's loads of good comedy and stuff. One thing that I did have to remark on, there's a point where he wakes up in his bed after he's been brought back to the house by his mother, which, okay, she's a senior citizen. I don't know how she carried him that far, but that's beside the point. But he wakes up and goes outside and meets the dog. The dog brings him a ball to throw. And in that sequence, there's a flashback to him running through the cornfield, which is, of course, a direct reference to earlier movies. And it kind of struck me that it gave me back that sense of childhood wonder for a bit. So, I mean, good job, Bryan Singer. You actually managed to drop a proper nostalgia berry. Good for you. Remember, berry's not always bad. Uh, there's an awesome point where he throws the dog's, well, it's a baseball that the dog brings him, but he whips it and it obviously goes over the horizon. The dog goes around the fence and starts chasing it, goes about maybe 20, 30 feet, turns around and looks at Clark like he's an asshole, which of course he was. And yeah, here this is Routh just embodying Clark and Superman as far as I'm concerned. And there's a wonderful anecdote about how he got the job. Apparently, when he met Bryan Singer for lunch, he stumbled on the way to the table and spilled coffee all over the place. And it secured for Singer that, yeah, this guy can actually play clumsy, bumbling Kent. Perfect. Let's see, what have we got here? What was the note I made here? Oh, yeah, I think she handled it really well when he left. Yeah, Singer has said that he's aware that he made what was more of a in places it was much more of a movie for women. So yeah, it is what it is. There's a lovely reveal here. This is the running reveal. I mean, it's classic Donner, classic Superman. There's one point where Luthor quotes Arthur C. Clarke, or, well, paraphrases Arthur C. Clarke's line about sufficiently advanced technology being indistinguishable from magic. But then Kitty, the lady who's behind him in the shot from the fortress there, she is no Miss Tessmacher. Miss Tessmacher was smart. Kitty is dumb through and through. Yeah, which, yeah, it is what it is. Let's see. The jet, when it's coming down, it goes into a flat spin at one point, and the reactive physics that's shown from inside the jet, it's not comic book physics, and it's not real world physics. It's just drama physics, and it kind of pulled me out of the movie for a second there. There's a few things that I actually do have to say kind of pulled me out of the movie pretty badly. Let's see. Then you see, when he catches the plane and actually puts it down on the ground, you see the comic book physics perfectly encapsulated. And then, of course, there's a total Boy Scout moment, which is actually a callback to the first movie, where he tells everybody he hopes they're not put off of flying, because statistically it's still the safest way to travel. The suit, yeah. I liked the mild update to the suit. It's still got, maybe the red could have been a little brighter though, Brian. But it's still got the primary colors. I think I would have made the yellow a lot brighter as well, but, you know, I still like it, even with the undies on the outside look. It's classic. So, yeah, I really appreciate it. Now, I have to point out, we're also 20 years since this movie was released, or made at least. So, yeah, surprisingly, a 20-year-old movie is a better Superman than anything we've had since. Sorry, Henry. You are a great Superman. This is how Superman should look. Let's see, what else have we got here? There is a note against. There's a press conference not long after this moment. And, yeah, we'll get to Peeping Clark here in a second. But there's a moment at a press conference not long after he saves the plane where Perry is delegating ideas to different departments. And one, he says, does he still believe in truth, justice, all that stuff? I'm sorry. Right there. Okay, no. You need to put a hard stop on that. The phrase is always truth, justice, and the American way. Don't dangle that. Okay, you don't play around with that. That is Superman's ethos right there. And it should stay that way. Let's see. Am I that far down? Okay, here we are. There's some not so subtle clues. Clark meets Jason, Lois's son, who was born sometime after he left the planet. And he says, she never mentioned you. There's not so subtle cues showing us where things are leading, and they're good. It comes apparent that there's a very good reason she's mad. He never said goodbye before he left. The film plays coy about whether or not she knows he's Superman. My feeling is that she figured it out when they both vanished at the same time. I don't think so. There's another moment a little later that makes me think, no, she doesn't know. Or maybe she knows, but he hasn't told her. This scene here where he's kind of floating around outside Lois's house, kind of X-ray peeping through the walls. Odd. It's off-putting. And of course, then there's the article that she wrote called "I Spent the Night with Superman," which she tries to play off as, "Oh no, it was just Perry hyping up the article." And there's a jealous husband angle that I even felt was written more for women, and that was where I did a bit of research. Discard Singer actually did admit that it was more for women. It is what it is. The next shot. This to me spoke of Kingdom Come. There's a lot of non-movie references in this movie. This to me reminds me of Kingdom Come and some of the Elseworld stories where he's a bit more menacing. But it's reminiscent of darker Superman stories, which was one critic's thinking. And I don't know which critic that was. It wasn't Ebert, but I'd also like to tell them to go fuck themselves. They thought that this should have been more in the vein of a Batman Begins reboot, and this is also the guy who, motherfucker, are you retarded? How in God's name would you ever make a solar-powered alien who can fly believable? Or grounded? Don't do that. Don't even try. Superman's about the whole epic, marvelous thing. Yes, I realize what I just said. This one shot. Oh yeah, this was the absolute single moment that sold me on this movie and told me Singer understands Superman better than anybody else who'd ever made a movie. This is the scene where the bullet bounces off his eyeball. Doesn't flinch, doesn't blink, just watches it come. And it just goes, bink. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Best single on-screen representation of how truly tough it is to do this guy harm. When the bullet hits his eye, and this is paused just before, I believe, it hits his eye. His eyeball doesn't even wiggle. It hit the wall and stopped. That's fucking awesome. I loved it. And this was in the trailer, yeah. This is how you portray Superman's power level on the screen in live action. And one thing I did like too was that Intergang finally got an on-screen, if not explicit reference to Intergang. It's obviously Intergang. And of course there's the scene where immediately afterwards where Luthor has his mall kitty driving an out-of-control Mustang. And of course they had to put this particular homage in. And I'm sorry, that's really well done. Let me see here. Oh, Gotham gets a mention during the news, which made me wonder if Christian Bale and Brandon Routh together couldn't have been a great World's Finest, because you'd have the bright colors of Superman, and that yellow actually does look a little brighter, doesn't it? But you'd have the bright primary colors and Boy Scout attitude of Superman in the same vein as the Ninja Batman in the same movie. I'm absolutely here for that idea. Maybe in 20, 30 years when somebody gets bored and decides to use some AI to do that. Might be me. Who knows? There is some extremely childish humor in this movie. This one I had to title Snicker. When she says, "Chief, I've done Superman," and there's a stifled snort from off camera, and we aren't sure if it's from Jimmy Olsen or if it's from Clark. Though Clark does look a little bit shamefaced. Yeah. They do explain how Luthor got loose. He got loose because Superman didn't show up to a court date, which is fair. Let's see. There's a moment when Clark loses his glasses when he is obviously thinking about revealing himself. So clearly Superman didn't tell her. Yeah, but it also says that We're pretty sure Superman slept with her, but Clark didn't. A little bit naughty? Maybe not. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Tell me in the comments if you think that's a bit of a breach of morality or ethics for him to have actually slept with her and not actually told her everything beforehand. I'm kind of leaning towards the positive on that. I think it probably is a bad idea. Speaking of bad ideas, dude, what the fuck are you doing? She is not your woman anymore. This is not another odd note that Singer really should not have put in here. This is clearly for women, and unfortunately it's clearly for modern women who like a better deal. No, this is not cool. This is not Superman. Superman would not be this crude. Oh, during the flying, the green screen I did notice has aged a little. It's not terrible, but it's pretty bad. Lois makes a very, very stupid decision and takes the young fella on an investigation with her. And of course, it turns out, you stumbled onto Lex Luthor's boat, you idiot. Spacey is, and I'll say this all day. Spacey is so good as Luthor. He's genial. Like he's actually kind of nice to the kid initially, but he's calm and controlled. He's so fucking cold when he needs to be. It's perfect. He really, really played a good Lex Luthor. The writers, on the other hand, didn't know what the fuck they were doing with him because, this scene he reveals that it's another real estate scam. Why? On the upside, I got to play my favorite movie game. Let's Spot Newfoundland. And it's right there. Apparently, the part of the North Atlantic that's actually probably closest to sea level doesn't get washed over. Hello, moth. Must have kicked you up when I was cleaning. The lowest part of the North Atlantic shelf doesn't go underwater before, I don't know, what's this, Utah? It's a little much. Speaking of things that I spotted, check this out. Does that hotel look familiar to you, or does that facade look familiar to you guys? Maybe like a hotel from a slightly different franchise that also features, violence and explosives? I'm sorry, it looks like the Continental to me. You get a bit closer and I'll get my hand on you, pal. Get away from the camera. Friggin' moth. I'll have to kill him later, unfortunately. Let's see, where are we here? Yeah, so I thought this was kind of funny that John Wick and Superman might be in the same universe. There's a crossover I'd love to see too. So many classic references. This is Perry White, played by the amazing Frank Langella, saying, "Great Caesar's ghost." Yeah. One thing I did want to point out about the filmmakers getting wrong about Luthor, everybody seems to forget, most of the time, outside of the animation at least, that he's not just a capitalist or businessman. He's also a scientist. Like, what are you doing? I don't understand. Like, this... If you wanted to pick a real-world person to analogize into a villain, you take Elon Musk, not Donald Trump. This is a great callback. The prison shank scene. Where, earlier on in the movie, we see Kevin Spacey pocket a piece, or rather Lex Luthor pocket, a rather knife-shaped piece of the kryptonite that's been used to make something else. And it's definitely Chekhov's shank. And I do love that he basically shows how brutal he had to be in prison. And, this is a prison shanking, really. Like, it might as well be in a shower. Forgive the expression on Ralph's face. It's an unfortunate angle and poor timing on my part for the pause. There is one thing here, though. Yeah, like I say, we get a glimpse of how brutal Luthor can be. Maybe a souvenir of his time inside. Basically, prison shanks Superman. Yeah. And I have a note to turn this page over, so I will do that in just a second. At one point, there's a character called Riley, played by Ian Roberts, who literally throws Superman through the air. That's interesting. That said, how'd that guy get so powerful? And I think there's a lot of this movie that got cut away, and I think we may have lost something there. And Ian Roberts plays Riley, but that's a dead end name. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any villain that had that name. I did come across in the trivia on the IMDb. I did come across an interesting little anecdote. Apparently, during filming, Spacey was driving around in a golf cart that he called Lexus Superbuster, dragging a stuffed Superman doll by a rope while yelling into a megaphone, "Superman must die." I really wish I could find a clip of that. If you guys happen to find one, or you know that there is one, by all means, please do shoot it over in the comments or what have you. Let's see what's up next. Oh, this scene. I absolutely love this. It's kind of hard to see because I didn't bother to blow this up. I didn't have time. But right here, this is Superman flying up out of the clouds and being silhouetted against the sun, which struck me as kind of reminiscent of an earlier superhero movie. I don't know why. I love that it's kind of an inverse callback to it, though. Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. Now, after Superman, of course, everything gets finished. He ends up in the hospital. And, of course, we see... how did I put this? True love's kiss works on the hero, too, you know. Actually, this is one of those for women moments that don't really work as well for men. That's true. The next moment, though, kind of. It's a bit different. Because by this time, we know that this kid is his son. Because he shoves a piano across a room to save his mom. Yeah. And of course, the end sequence Flight is an absolute tribute to Christopher Reeve's Superman. And you can kind of see here the CGI, the green screen. They tried to keep as close to the original style as they could, but I think they kind of missed something here. Anyway, that's my thoughts. This movie generally gets a 70 out of 100, 7 out of 10 from various different critics and stuff, and from people who've seen it. That's the end of my notes, by the way. And I have to be honest, I kind of agree. I think I might even knock it down to a 6.5, given some of the really odd moments that appear in this movie. But other than that, I mean, it's still worth a watch. It's still a Superman movie. It's still probably one of the better Superman movies. Just to throw a quick list at you guys, I would say well, certainly if you're wanting to watch Superman movies, I would watch the Donner 1 and 2, then this one. After that, Man of Steel, if you really want to see Henry Cavill. Yeah, it's, I think Hollywood has really lost a lot of what they used to have. They used to be the Wonder Merchants, and it's just gone. And it's a real friggin' shame. Other than that, folks, you won't see this before I am on Discordant Dragons tonight, but if you haven't watched Discordant Dragons before, go over to use the Unix channel, YIZZ, the Eunuch, on Rumble, and check it out, because it won't stay up on YouTube. Other than that, I hope you're doing well. I hope you continue to do well. And as always, rise and rise again until lambs become lions. No promises about seeing me tomorrow. Still kind of process. Yeah. Though I do have a video planned for tomorrow. If I can find that little note, I'll let you know what it is. Oh, no, I had that wrong. But I will... Tomorrow will be a Terra Nova Tuesday if I make a video. Other than that, I hope you're doing well. Hope you continue to do well. Wait a second, I said that already. Darn! Rise and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye. Hello, party people. So I'm attempting to make a go of this whole content creation thing, and I could really use your support. Either monetary or, just moral. Though by moral I mean please like and share, comment, send it out to your friends, your frenemies, your family, and your foes. In any case, another way you can support me, and I am changing my merch store over to Fourth Wall, which is why it still says Redbubble in the bottom. You also have the option to send me a tip on Ko-Fi. But in the meantime, until I get the Fourth Wall up, sorted, ready to go, I will be keeping the Redbubble store open for a little while. Some of the designs that are in the Redbubble store will not be repeated on Fourth Wall. In fact, I am considering moving to a somewhat more limited run sort of system for some of these designs. Some of them cease to be topical after a while. I still have a number of the, let's call it the disease with no name designs. In any case, I do appreciate any support you guys give me, even if it is simply sharing it or even liking and commenting. Every comment I see, I will respond to. Other than that, as always, I hope you're well and continue to be well. Rise and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye.